Good morning everyone. Today I'm going to be taking you on a garden tour. We have a few things that are in bloom right now in the month of May, and we also have a lot of things that are popping out of the ground finally. The weather is starting to warm up. It is 60 degrees right now and we are not dipping below 45 at night, which is super exciting. That means I could get planting and just get things in the ground because I have a whole lot of things that need to end up in the ground. So since we are standing right here, I thought let's just first start with the vegetable garden and then I'll take you over to the other areas. So there's not much that has changed over here since last time I showed you. The Snapdragons over here have put on some growth. There's also some miner's lettuce that is growing in between them. This plant right here, which is, I think, is really dainty and beautiful, but it's also edible, and I just let it grow as a ground cover. Usually this bed gets filled with miner's lettuce, and also we have some red onions over here, some poppies that I planted over here. I think they are starting to pop up, and I'll have to weed this area, but first I want to see where the poppies are. Over here I have a lot of the seedlings that need to be planted, and also this is doing so well over here. It's loving it. This is a cyclamen that I brought from inside. This one not so much, and that one looks like it's dormant or dead. I'm not sure, but the brassicas are doing so well. I was worried because I thought I planted them super late, but I think we're going to be able to get them in the ground hopefully today if the weather does not continue to rain. Some more onions over here, and in that bed over there we have the fava beans right here. Not much has changed. I am letting things go to seed. This is the kale over here that came back from last year, and I am letting it go to seed so that I can harvest the seeds. I think it also looks beautiful with those bloom heads on it, and I like it. Also on this side over here, we have some not Gara, it looks like Gara. This is, what do you call it? What is this plant called? This is some arugula, and it is also going to seed and makes these beautiful flowers that look like Gara. This is why I said it was Gara. Also, this one right here is a vegetable I planted last year. I forgot its name. It's a salad vegetable, and it's also, you can see, creating lots of seed heads over here. So hopefully I'll be able to harvest these. And I'm going to keep them in here and then plant around them. The cilantro over here is also going to seed, and then once all these things are done going to seed, I'll harvest the seeds and then I'll just rip them out of here. In this bed over here, we have all the lettuce and saponaria and a potato, apparently. Couple potatoes, 3 potatoes in here. We have one right there, right there, right there. They're popping up. Oh well, and some borage too, right there. That's all right. I think I'll just keep them in here. And the carrots are also popping up. You could see them right there. Some spinach, this is really exciting. Some radishes over here, some Swiss chard right there. And also these are the California poppies, and they're already starting to pop up as well. And we'll see what these will look like. I'm not super excited about them because the reason why I'm not super excited about them is because they are kind of hot colors, and I don't like that. And over here, I still need to clean this area over here, but this bed, I'm going to be planting it soon, and I also would like to paint it as well, a dark color. And the blueberries are starting to put some blooms on them. I did prune a lot of this bush, the growth that can produce blooms, so this is why this bush doesn't have a lot of blooms on it. But this one, on the other hand, has tons of blooms, so we're going to be seeing a lot of blueberries on this one. Also beneath the blueberries, these are just some wild violas that grow constantly in these pots, and I just let them. I think they are beautiful and I love their blooms. These are also edible, so you can use the leaves and the flowers in salads. We also have some oregano here that I need to dig up and place in one of my beds my herb beds that I'm creating. Some more oregano that popped up in here that needs to be transplanted. And look at the strawberries. They're doing so well. This is the first year that they have put on this much growth. This is their second year in here, and looks like that row isn't doing as well. I think this is a row that I actually transplanted in here this spring, so that's probably why it doesn't have as much of vigorous growth as this row right here. But they'll catch up eventually. I'm gonna have to take a couple of these out because I did just get some grapes for this area, and I'll be planting them in these beds over here. Also, the fennel is looking great in there. And look at it, it's looking gorgeous. I love fennel, I think it's beautiful. And both these beds are ever-bearing strawberries. I did get some June-bearing strawberries that we're going to be planting in those beds over there. Also, the garlic, I keep showing it in almost every video, but it's gorgeous. Look at it. It's doing so well. And we also came here and planted a honeyberry the other day. This is a male honeyberry. I'm going to need a female. I'm going to be planting it next to it over there. I did purchase a couple online because I did buy accidentally 2 male honeyberries, and they need a female and a male to get pollinated. And over here, this wild black raspberry is doing amazing, and I keep walking into spider webs. And I do need to trellis it though, but look at all the blooms on it. The buds, it's full of buds. Look at it. We're gonna have tons of black raspberries. I'm so excited. Also over here in this bed, I did leave the Brussels sprouts that stayed here from last year, and I am letting them also go to seed. I think their blooms are beautiful. I love brassica blooms. I typically don't like yellows, but I think brassica blooms are very nice. And then also in this bed right here, I have the thornless blackberry right there and a lingonberry, and something keeps digging around it. What do I have in here? It looks like I have a groundhog. Oh my goodness, these birds are so loud. I don't know, not a groundhog. This may be a chipmunk or something. But something is digging up my plant. I need to put some repellent in here because that is not acceptable. Look at that, all the holes. Yeah. I still need to fix this fence over here. Looks like we had some wind. The cardboard blew off the beds. I am putting cardboard down in the meantime before I plant so that the grass and stuff and the weeds don't grow in here. I still have this bed right here to clean up. We'll get to that another day, maybe today, hopefully. And the pear tree earlier in the spring was full of blooms. I do have to thin it once we actually start seeing the fruits, and then I'll decide which fruits to stay, which ones to go. And both apple trees this year also were full of blooms, both of them. So I'm super excited. They still have some blooms on them, and we're gonna get hopefully tons of apples if they do get proper pollination, which it looks like they are. So that's really exciting. Yay! This is the first year these apple trees actually do this well. So really exciting. And also this year the frost did not take them. I mean, look at this. This tree is full full of blooms. So exciting. Almost all the branches were loaded with these blooms. Okay, now I'm going to take you over to the kids' play area. I showed this in a previous video, but I did clean up a little more around it. I still have some rocks that I need to pull up. I've been putting the landscaping fabric around the kids' play area. It took me a couple days to do that, and the kids chose some flowers over here and they planted them in their garden. I expanded their area and I pulled up all the grass that was here, the flower bed area that they have. And they had some fun picking up plants and planting them in here. And we have over here some white phlox right there that is flopping. I need to stake it. Also some blue lobelia right there. And a whole bunch of just petunias. I'm not sure what varieties these are. I didn't even bother to look. And some annual dianthus in the front that looks very sweet in here. We also have some oriental lilies in the back. This is a mixture of different types of oriental lilies. I think there's a zebra or tiger lilies in here, and that one is the orange lily right there. And some other varieties. We may have the stargazer lilies in here, I'm not sure. And some zinnias that we planted also, and they're starting to pop up. These are just the pink giant zinnias, and a whole lot of them are starting to pop up. Super exciting. And in this bed right here, we have the chives are starting to bloom. You can see their blooms are just about ready to open. Also, the bearded iris are also just about ready to start blooming. These bloom in late May, early June, and the phlox is also starting to put on some growth. And the boxwood over here got a little bit of winter damage from all the snow, but it looks like it's having a whole bunch of new growth on it. I think I may prune it again, and then hopefully it will do better next year. And I love these white tulips over here. And these are, I feel like, the only tulips that did well in this bed this year. All the other ones just kind of had foliage on them. You can see right there, and not much blooms. And maybe I didn't fertilize them. That's what happens. Because usually when I do fertilize my tulips, I fertilize them twice, before they bloom and after they bloom. And they end up coming back every year. We also have some, what's it called? Siberian iris right there, and phlox that have seeded itself everywhere, and it's just letting it because I don't want the weeds to take over, because this bed is kind of a little bit empty in the back over there and in this area right here, so I have to fill it up with a few things. And we have some, I think this is purple palace heuchera that I started from seed last year. And I have one right there, and the chickens dug up both of them twice, so I had to replant them. You can see that one got completely dug out, and they ripped up some of the roots also. And this one right here was still hanging in there. They didn't completely dig it up. We have some thyme here that I keep debating whether to keep or not, but I think I might. I don't know. I kind of like it. And they do have beautiful pink blooms, kind of light pink blooms in the spring. And this beautiful variegated euonymus over here, I don't know the name of the variety. This was on our property when we bought the house, and also I dug it up and I planted it in here. It was just really tiny, hugging the ground, and then when I moved it over here, it just started flourishing. And with the any variegated plant, what you want to do is, you see this green growth right here? What I'd have to do is I'd have to come and cut it to the base of where it's growing from, because the green foliage can gather sunlight a lot better, the energy from the sunlight a lot better than the variegated one, and it will take over. So you have to keep cutting back the non-variegated foliage if you want to keep the variegated color of your plant on it, if you want that to be dominant. And here these dianthus are also about ready to bloom, and also full of this weed. I don't know the name of this weed over here, but I do need to figure out some way to get rid of it. It's so hard to get rid of it, and I may have to like dig up this whole area to get rid of it, and I can't really spray it with an herbicide because it will kill my plants. So it's been a battle with this weed. I don't know what it's called. Also here the thyme is just about ready to bloom. And sorry, excuse the hoses. And we have our roses also starting to put on some growth over here. There's a bird that laid an egg. Laid eggs in here and made a nest in my euonymus. I thought that I was taking a picture, but apparently I'm recording, which is not bad. This is so exciting. Okay. We shouldn't stay here long, right, Serenity? Hmm? Yeah. Oh, so cute. There are 4 eggs in here. And these are the pots that I planted with you earlier this spring. And this is the antique shade viola mix, and I think there's another pansy mix, just the generic kind of mix that you would normally see, like the yellows, the violets, and blues in here, but I haven't seen them yet in here. But I do love the antique shade of viola mix. I think it's gorgeous. This, I think, is one of my favorite colors in here, but they're all beautiful. I do love the yellows also. Normally I'm not a yellow fan, but I do love this mix, and I think it looks really nice up against the shed over here, which one day is going to be repainted hopefully this year. And this one also just starting to put on some blooms. They just this week started putting on some blooms, and for reference, this is May 18th when you are seeing when I'm filming this, and we are, our weather stays pretty cool. We don't really get a long spring. And then over here in this area, I did pull up the weeds and the grass that was growing in here, and first we planted the serviceberry earlier this spring, and then just a couple days ago I came here and I planted some Gara in here that I started from seed. This is Lingonberry, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Lingonberry, Gara, and the petunias that are struggling because I kept them in their 2-inch cells for way too long because I was running out of space. And I planted a drift of them over here, and we're going to see these, they're going to start putting on some growth very quickly. Once they get planted in the ground, things kind of perk up and do their thing. And in the back also I planted some yellow sunflowers as well as some burgundy mix sunflowers. I thought they'll look really nice over here together. I think this is the coral reef petunia, all this over here. So I think it will look really nice with the white Gara and the sunflowers that we're going to be having here. And look at the lilac over here. It is gorgeous, and the scent, it just perfumes the air. Oh, it's so nice. I love just walking by it over here, and especially when the wind is blowing, it puts on this beautiful scent in the air, and it's full of blooms. Oh, I love it so much, so much. And we have 2 of them over here, but I will be moving them out of here, both of them. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it needs to happen. Both of these lilacs are going to be moving, and I know exactly where we're going to end up. Also, earlier this spring, this apple tree was full of bloom as well. And these tulips over here, they're kind of done blooming, but they were originally in this area over here with a whole lot of weeds and grass all around them. So I dug them up and I planted them in here, and these are tulips that multiply and come year after year. and all I do is just fertilize them. But naturally these are tulips that would come back every year, so I don't know what varieties these are. I think these are one of the original kind of breeds of tulips, because they do have the striped foliage, not foliage, sorry, these striped blooms. And there are a couple reds in here, which, you know, I'm not a big fan of these colors, but they're kind of sweet. They don't go with my color palette, but for now I'm leaving them here, and maybe one day I'll get some purple tulips or something and plant in here. And they are kind of filling up this area, making it look beautiful for now, until I find something else to plant in here, and maybe I'll give these to someone that likes this color, because I don't. But they are a very reliable breed of tulips. I'm sorry I don't know what they are, because again, they were on the property when we moved here 8 years ago, so I have no idea what they are. And let me just give you a quick update on this hedge over here. This is the, what's it called? Blue, what are these called? These are the Spartan junipers, and in our winter this winter we got 2 snows that were super heavy, and they caused some of them to lean over. You can kind of see, so I have to stake these up. But I also, the other day, came over here, planted some zinnias all along this area, the pink giant zinnias, and also a whole bunch of petunias. These are, I'll put the names of the varieties of these petunias on the screen, so pretty soon we're going to see some beautiful blooms in here. And in this area I have some vinca, I don't know, a blue vinca, periwinkle vinca, I think this is, and also some phlox and some ferns that come up over here on their own. I think this would probably be like a Boston fern or something like that, I'm not sure. And I don't know the names, the variety of the phlox, because these are just phlox that just seeded themselves, so they're kind of a mixture of colors in here. And in this bed over here, I keep debating whether to actually take out this pink phlox or not, but I actually do love both of these colors of phlox together. I think the blue and the pink look really beautiful together, and I don't know, they just add this pop of color in here that if we just had the blue like I was thinking before, I think it would just be too boring. I don't know, because especially with the color of mulch that I'm using, this is just some wood chips, and I think it would be too bland if we just had the blue in here. I do like the pink and the blue together. The reason why I was considering removing the pink one is just because it kind of looks it kind of looks not that pretty and groomed up once it's done blooming. So maybe if I shear it back, it might look better. I'm not sure. Also, we have the boxwood over here that's also needs to be sheared up, but I'm super excited that it's actually starting to put on some growth, because I'm gonna form this into kind of a ball in here. And this is the firecracker sedum, and I took some cuttings earlier this spring, and I'm trying to grow them so that we can actually have some more of it in here, because I want this firecracker sedum to kind of cover up this whole area in here. I think it would look really beautiful. It would make a nice beautiful purple carpet, because it's a really slow spreading phlox from my experience. Maybe if I fertilize it, it might actually spread faster. I don't fertilize it. I know sedum, I keep saying phlox. Sedum flops when you do fertilize it or give it too much water, but I'm going to try it out and see. Maybe it'll help it spread faster because this is a very low growing sedum anyways, so what's there to flop? I don't know, I could be wrong. Also, we have some Echinacea purpurea, purpurea, I think. Yes, I think that's how you say it. Over here, that's starting to pop up. I lost one of them last year, so I have to replace it. And in this area over here, lots of lily of the valley. I love lily of the valley, but I want to get rid of it from this area. And I did come yesterday and spray it. And I know this can be a controversial thing, but that's the only way I am going to be able to get rid of it, because I tried smothering it, I tried pulling it, and this thing just is so vigorous and it keeps coming back, and you can see it's popping up in the phlox over there, and it will take over an area if you let it. So it will smother your plants. This is why I'm going to spray it, and I'm going to keep on top of it and keep spraying it until it just completely dies back in here, and then I will plant this area. So this area is going to look bare for maybe a couple of years, and once all the lily of the valley is taken care of, then I'll be able to plant something in here. And the tulips and the daffodils put on a beautiful show this spring, and I did have a disease on the tulips, but I'm not going to pull them up. I had a fire blight. Fire blights? No, fire blights? I think that's what it is called. I'm not going to pull them up. I'm going to leave them, and hopefully, you never know, maybe they will correct themselves. If not, then I may consider pulling them up out of here next year. And I will have to deadhead all the tulips, and you do kind of have to keep the foliage up so that they can get some energy from the sunlight and store it in their bulbs before you dig them, before you cut back the foliage. I do also have to come back and fertilize them so that they can hopefully come back next year. These have been coming back every single year because this is what I do. And by the way, I also have an article on my website. I will link it down in the description box below on how to get your tulips to come back every year. And in here we also have some blue Siberian iris that's coming up in here, some ajuga that I'm considering actually planting it somewhere else, but for now it's going to stay here. It's going to act as a ground cover and stop the weeds. And some phlox. This is the right there. Oh, and also the ajuga is blooming. This is the At Last Rose, and it's finally starting to put on some growth. It took it only like 4 or 5 years, I don't know, but I'm actually considering moving it out of here because earlier this spring we came and we planted 4 of the Gertrude Jekyll or Jekyll roses in this area over here. And you can't actually see them right now. We also planted some blue delphinium, not blue, sorry, the lavender, guardian lavender delphinium right in front of the roses as well. And this is the Fantasia nectarine. It was full of blooms this spring, so we're going to have tons of nectarines. I will have to thin it, of course. And also the other day I came and I planted these purple dragon Lamium, and on the tag it says that they're going to have purple blooms, but I'm not seeing purple blooms. This looks like pink, magenta pink, which, you know, I don't mind, but I was hoping to have purple blooms. Obviously I love purple, but I guess, you know, we could use some other color other than purple in this area. But I do love this variety. It's gorgeous. I love the edging on the leaves. You could see some of this purple over here and the splotches on the leaves. And you can see this one has some more blooms on it right there. And this area I have neglected for so many years because I am going to be pulling up all this bed eventually and having a kind of a formal garden in here. We have some hostas that are coming up. These bushes that I hate, I don't even know what they're called, but I'm leaving them there for now just to kind of control the weeds. And this is the rhododendron, I think. I'm not sure. It doesn't have the same structure as a rhododendron with its leaves or with its flowers, but it could be a rhododendron. I don't know. It looks more like an azalea, but it's evergreen, so I have no idea. And these pots over here are starting to do well, just in time when we are about ready to pull them up and plant our summer annuals in here, which is really frustrating. It took forever for them to actually start blooming because of our cold weather, but that's okay. They look beautiful, and I know this foliage doesn't look exactly great, but oh well. You know, these are the what are they called? Some type of daffodil. I forgot that. They bloomed in the garage, and then when I pulled them out, they just kind of died in the cold and withered away. But these are the clear purple pansies that I started from seed over here, and this one as well. They're doing really well, and I love the color purple on them. And also we have some alliums in here that are about to bloom. This is the Purple Sensation allium, and the foliage again, you know, got damaged by the cold weather that we have, but that's okay. I'm going to be pulling them up and planting them somewhere else once they are done blooming, and along with the pansies, because sometimes they do come back for us over here. And this right here is a yellow lily that keeps coming back year after year, and it's so full and lush, and I do like this lily actually. So I'm going to be digging up some of it and planting it somewhere else, maybe this year, maybe the next, I don't know. But I also did a whole bunch of mulching in that area, and before we go there, actually, let me just show you right here. This is a project that I started about 5 years ago, about 4.5 years ago, when I was pregnant, very pregnant with my youngest daughter. And I planted some lily of the valley in here, which you can see. Maybe this is something I'm gonna regret because it's starting to sort of take over. And I also planted some hostas in here that the deer just absolutely love, and they keep coming and eating every single year. So I'm gonna have to stay on top of this and just spray everything in here so that the deer don't eat spray it with the deer repellent. But this is some hostas that I had in my other flower bed that I was showing you, and I pulled it up and I planted it in here. Actually, this is the hosta that was where the sedum, firecracker sedum was. It was getting fried every single year because it's in the full sun, and I wasn't giving it a lot of water, and I planted it in here, and it does great here, and I don't really water them or anything, and they do really well, with exception to the deer, of course. And we have some beautiful weeds over here as well. This is the, what do you call it? It's bittersweet vine and thorn bush. There we go. Right here, this is the golden Alexander. This actually prefers to be in the sun. I planted it in here. It was next to the chicken coop that just came up on its own, so I took it and I planted it in here. But I will be eventually moving it into the sun so that it can actually does better. And it has these beautiful kind of umbel shaped blooms, and they kind of look like carrot blooms or dara. And this bleeding heart I planted a few years ago has only one stem, which is super sad, so I'm going to have to move it out of here. But I do love the blooms on bleeding hearts. I think they are so gorgeous, and they have a beautiful feel to them also. They kind of very soft and plump, very beautiful leaves as well, if it does actually put on some growth. So I will have to move this one over here so that it can do better. And some more native ferns to our area that I just dug up and put in this area. And I think if I give this bed in here more water, it will do a lot better. But also look at the leaves of the Golden Alexander. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's gorgeous. I love its sort of ferny texture. It reminds me of a stilby leaves in a way. So in here I got a solar bird bath, and I put it on this pedestal over here, and I think it looks nice with exception to the color. I do want to get some stone spray, and I'm going to spray the outside of the bird bath so that at least when we're kind of standing far away from it, it will look like the stone that it's sitting on, and will kind of blend in together and it will look nice. And you can see in this area I also planted a Gertrude Jekyll in here. You can barely see it. Here it is. And the other day I came in here and I mulched around these plants. I still have a few plants to mulch around. This is the oak leaf hydrangea right here. I'm not sure what variety because I got sent the wrong variety when I bought the star, what's it called? I forgot the exact variety that I ordered, but I got this several years ago, and I don't know. I think it's the Gatsby Gal oak leaf hydrangea, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure. We have the skyrocket junipers over here, and you can see here all the grasses and the hostas that I had in this area were not hostas. The grasses and the hydrangea over here were getting eaten by slugs, so I did put down some bug and slug bait in here, and that took care of the problem. And this is the Let's Dance Can Do hydrangea that completely died back to the ground this winter, and I had to cut it back, and it's starting to put on some growth. But this also blooms on new wood, so hopefully we're going to see some blooms on it this probably by fall. We will be able to see some blooms because it's going to take some time for those blooms to develop. And also this right here, this is the morning light. I'll put the name on the screen. Also was getting devoured by slugs, which I still see some slugs, so I'm going to have to put down some more of that bait to get rid of the slugs away from here, away from my plants. But I did put the mulch around it as well so that we can mow around it and edge around it and not have a problem. And eventually this whole area is going to be mulched, this whole area over here, and turned into a flower bed. But for now, just for an easier way of maintaining it, I'm just keeping it as lawn and planting in wherever I want to plant, and then eventually I will be turning this whole area into a flower bed, connecting it with the bed that is under the spruce tree. I keep forgetting its name. It's a blue spruce. And we are in the cottage garden right now. I still have a whole lot of cleaning to do on this side, but let's not look at that. So I have to kind of dedicate 15 minutes a day for this side over here to clean it. But anyways, I wanted to show you this rhubarb. It's doing so well. This is its third year, I think. Third? I think so. So I can actually start harvesting from it, and I can make pies and ferment stuff, some rhubarb stems and all that. Super exciting. And there's another one right here as well. I also came here earlier this spring and I planted some black-eyed Susans. Right here, this is the medicinal garden area over here, so I'm going to be adding tons of plants in this area as well. And this rhubarb has always been a little bit smaller than that one right there. You can kind of see the size difference if I can get them both in the camera. There we go. That one always has done better for me. And you can see this one is a little bit on the yellowish side, so I'm going to have to give it some nitrogen and maybe some soil acidifier. Maybe it likes more acidic soil. I'm not sure. I need to do some research on it. And also, before we look over there, I've been harvesting from the asparagus. This is its 3rd year, and I planted these from seed. I also just started some purple passion asparagus that I'm going to be planting in here. I want to show you, look at these fat asparagus stems. So crazy. They have the most gigantic stems on them that I've ever seen. I mean, look at this. 2 of my fingers. Look at that. Crazy. And I don't think I have fertilized them this spring either yet, so I need to do that. And on this side right here, we have the this is some blue hyssop, and this is also a medicinal plant. I also have some weeds, so don't look at those. And I planted a whole drift of them in this area. And this is the jet black hollyhock that I also started from seed last season, and some mullein right there. And that mullein is supposed to be good for respiratory issues. Also right here we got a blueberry. This is the blue crop blueberry, and you can see it has plenty of blooms on it. I planted this a couple years ago, and it is doing well as long as I just keep on top of the soil acidifier and fertilizing. So for us over here, we have a pH of about 6.8, so that's not ideal for blueberries. They prefer a pH of 4.5 to 5.5, and as long as I just keep adding that soil acidifier in the ground and, you know, keep testing the soil for the acidity and monitoring it, these blueberries tend to do well in the ground. And in this bed right here, we have the Jane magnolia that just continues to bloom. The only thing that I don't like about it is whenever we get rain, this is what happens to the blooms. They just kind of turn brown and ugly. But otherwise, I do love it. I think it's a beautiful tree, and it does prefer acidic soil. So I can see kind of that it has a little bit of chlorosis on it. So I'm gonna have to give it some soil acidifier. And uh-oh, stepping on a rose. And we have here the daisies are starting to put on a lot of growth, and the phlox that the deer keep eating year after year. So I'm going to have to also stay on top of these and just continue to spray them. And the roses are starting to put on some growth. I love their foliage. I think it adds kind of this beautiful color in this area, and I do have to mulch this bed. It's getting overtaken by weeds. So I'm gonna have to get the hula hoe over here. And I have a lot of daisies in this area, but I will be kind of reducing the amount that I have in here because I want to add a whole lot of stuff in here. The only reason why I planted this many daisies in here is because, one, I started them from seed, and two is because I just wanted to fill up this bed quickly so that I can have less weeds in here for on a very low budget. and that worked out. But now I can start adding more plants in here, and I will be starting a whole lot of stuff from seed as well and adding them in here. I did plant some Gara from seed, so I'll be adding some right here as well. And that might be a little bit too much white, so I may just take out this whole section of daisies out of here once I have the plants that I want to plant in here, and just plant something else in their place and keep maybe just only this section of daisies right here, because it is a lot of daisies. But for now, they're gonna stay until I have some plants in here. Also, the lupins are doing great. That one, it looks so much better than this one. This one needs some more soil acidifier. It looks yellow, and that's how I can tell that it needs the soil acidifier. Also, right here we had so many sumac trees, and there were a couple of them that I just pulled up this spring. The roots, the stalks, no, not stalks, what do you call them? The trunks that stayed here, eventually they rotted and I pulled them up, but look what's happening. Suckers everywhere, everywhere. So I will have to spray these so that they don't come up, because if I just pull them, they're just going to keep coming up like this. And ignore the weeds. I will be taking care of this bed very shortly. But this is a Weigela that started from seed and ended up in the gravel. So I pulled it up and I planted it in here, and it's doing great. And it looks like we may see some blooms on it this year. Sorry, I'm holding some weeds in my hands. So this is really exciting. These take forever to grow when they are started from seed, but I love the color. It's kind of like very similar to the wine and roses, and maybe it might have some beautiful dark pink blooms on it. So we'll have to wait and see. And oh, look at that, I have another lupin in here. And then right here, this is the butterfly garden that I started a few years ago, and finally last year I mulched this whole area, and I planted also a whole bunch of perennials in here. So we have some salvia right here. This is it's starting to bloom. Let me get this on camera. Beautiful, beautiful blooms, and year after year these are going to start putting on some growth. I haven't fertilized them actually. Let's see, what variety of salvia is this? This is the rose raspberry salvia. It is beautiful. I also love the foliage on it. And we have some agastache in here. This, oh, looks like something dug it up. Oh, there's a hole in here and something dug up my agastache. Raspberry dayquery agastache. Well, I'm gonna have to deal with that a lot, looks like. This is the rosemint agastache, a whole bunch of just agastache, some black-eyed Susans, some phlox in here, also echinacea. This is the Paradiso Super Duper Echinacea. So pretty soon we're going to start seeing some color in this area. Also, of course, I am struggling with Bermuda grass, so I'm going to have to do something about that. And over here I have some Monarda that also is full of weeds. Oh, all right, I'll have to come another day here and weed. But you get the point. And also, let me take you over to the shade garden that I started last year. It is actually doing really well, but I have to make sure to spray so that the deer don't eat everything. I planted a whole bunch of stuff from seed last year as well, mostly the columbine, which look like they're just about ready to start blooming. And I have what's that called? This is leprechaun gold columbine, I think, and these are the I forgot their name. I can't remember. I'm sorry about that. I'll put the name on the screen. I have, looks like 3 of them. There's one here, one there, and one over here. And we have some native ferns as well. And these are just, I don't know the name of these hostas. They were also on the property and I transplanted them over here, but they are beautiful and they kind of are low growing. And oh, finally, that's where it is. This is a blue hosta that I got from Home Depot. It did not have a name on it. I don't know what it's called, but it looks like I have some slugs that are eating it, so I have to put some slug bait in here as well. Oh, look, there's more of the leprechaun gold columbine in here, and I finally found my white feather hosta or ghost hosta. I think it goes by both names. I'm not sure. I'll put the name on the screen for you over here. And I would like to get another hosta with some bold leaves right here. Maybe I need some dark foliage hosta right there. And I think that would look really nice in contrast with the columbine foliage. And I have some heucheras that I started from seed that I'll be adding in this area as well. So this is really exciting. I'm happy with this shade garden so far, and of course I will be expanding it into this area over here and this area as well. I just started small so that I can maintain it, and I will be putting down some more cardboard and mulch in this area hopefully this season. But you can kind of see what our the edges of our property look like. A whole bunch of woods, a whole bunch of just wild stuff growing, some invasive honeysuckles and invasive thorn bushes and poison ivy and all sorts of stuff. This is how the edge of our property looks like, and I've been trying to take it over since the moment we bought this property, and it has been a lot of work. So it's a work in progress, and this area was just like that, and it takes time to get things to look like this. Also, there were tons of sumac trees growing right here in this area, all the way, I think, like up to here, up to here, this way. And this whole area was full of sumacs, and the first thing, they were very low growing though, they were just like starting to spread in here. The very first thing I did when we got this property is just mow this whole area down, and then I started expanding this way because there were tons of barberries and all sorts of things. So I've been taking care of this, and slowly we'll turn it into a garden as well. And I planted a lilac that the deer completely ate down to a small nub. I don't know if it's even gonna come back. I don't know. It looks dead, but when I touch it, I don't know, it still has a good grip on the ground, so I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna leave it. I don't know, it might be dead. If anything, I'll just move one of those giant lilacs in here and plant it in its place. Well, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this garden tour. As you can see, I don't have a lot of blooms yet in the month of May, and I'm working on it, but I always feel like I haven't done anything in the garden, and I haven't done any improvements, but I'm hoping that these videos, as I take them, will sort of help me to see all the improvements that I'm making, because it always feels like I haven't done anything. I also hope that these videos kind of give you inspiration, and hope that if your garden looks like my garden, my woodland garden, or my messy garden, that you're not alone in this, and that we will be able to tackle it and one step at a time and make it look beautiful one step at a time. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope that you will be able to get out there and get gardening and plant something beautiful.